If you tell me that I can do whatever I want, be sure that's what I'm gonna do. Hello everybody, how are you? I'm Liz from Trelease and welcome to my Fibery podcast. So how are you? So this podcast is mostly about knitting, dyeing, and my adventures around the world. So how are you? How are you? I'm very excited, as you can see. And finally, I have my voice back. A bit more details about that later on. So if you're a new viewer, welcome. I hope you like this podcast and craziness over here. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. So as you can see, I'm excited as always. And the reason is because last week I was in my first knitting retreat. And ironically, it was in Greece. Yes, where I'm always complaining that it never has an event or something happening. Yes, there was something happening here. Yeah! So I'm very excited to tell you more about that. And I have a finished object. Well, actually, I'm in the biting off. So we're going to consider that it's finished object because until I edit this video and until I put it up, it will be a finished object. So what do you say? Should I show you? Yes, today I'm going deep into the things very fast, you see? Okay, so you knew that I was test knitting for Suzanne Summer or Sosu knits in Ravelry and Instagram. And I was test knitting the Slice of Light, which is a beautiful pattern that will come out the 15th of June. Yes, it will come out the 15th of June. And it is an amazing, huge shawl. And I have binded off all around it. Yes, it's an I-cord. But I had to pick up also the last edge that normally, it doesn't have stitches. But it is for the I-cord to go all around it. So let me find actually the the right side. I have no idea where's the right side. Okay, this is the right side. So I'm sorry, but I quite have a few stitches to go along, but it will go like that. And I'm very excited. I love it. It's squishy. It's amazing. It's really cool. I know that a lot of you have seen this in my Instagram feed. I'm sorry, but I just pulled a stitch and we don't want that. So a lot of you really like my color combinations, and a lot of you have asked if I would make kits for that. The original yarn that Suzanne used was a Volca collection, so Dear Catherine's beautiful yarn, and it uses a single over here. Actually, not even a single, just a yarn with 420 meters, I think. But I used my Psyche single with silk that has 400 meters, and I have that much left from color A, and I'm still binding off. So yeah, I think maybe for color A, just have a yarn that has 400 meters just to be on the safe side. But I think also with a single 366 meters, you might be okay. Yeah, maybe not for the binding off. Maybe you can alternate the binding off with the color C, which color C in this case is my skeleton woman over here. So you use the first color, so color A, which mine was Severus Snape with a neon mohair, and you have this funky texture. It's funny because it's a yellow mohair, but with the other yarn it makes like a green halo that actually like. And then there's a brioche section. Then there are some short rows alternating color A and color C, because color B is the mohair. And then you have this beautiful brioche with color C and color B. So yes, brioching with the mohair. It's very nice. I love it. It's very squishy. It's too bad that it's too hot over here, but maybe if there's a really windy night in the island, I might be able to wear it. Maybe not really wear it, but have it on my lap, you know, to keep me a bit warm. Because yes, some nights it might be more cold than others. And thankfully, our house is on the northern part of the island and it's more cold. Yeah! So for once, I will be happy to be cold. So yes, this is what I'm binding off, but because it is a night cord bind off, it is taking me a bit more time. And there's also another excuse that I will tell you just in a minute. So you're asking me if I will be making kits or yarn for it. Because she used Vol collection yarn, I don't feel very comfortable on making kits when it just comes out. But I was thinking that I might do just the color combination as like a few number of kits, just what I used. But I don't know when that will be. I think it might be a bit later on in the summer, maybe beginning of autumn. Yes, but not right now. And the reason is not only that I prefer if, you know, Wool collection, Catherine wants to do something with a design or a promotion, that I shouldn't be in the middle of that, but also because I have lots to prepare and I have other schedules to dye. So, the big move. As you can see, my shelves are empty. What's wrong, Liz? Well, I've taken most of my stock of dyed yarns, so the shop, and I've taken most of my stock of undyed yarns into boxes with all of my dyes, with pots and stuff, and all that yesterday, thankfully with my mom, we took it to like, you know, how do you say, moving agency? Yeah, anyway, and we just took all the boxes there and they're sending them to the island. So normally next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I will have my big boxes over there. And also I have lots of yarn, lots of yarn going over there. And I don't know if I should tell you how many kilos I will have to dye minimum. I remember last year for the 4 festivals that I did, it was approximately 100 kilos. And now the only thing that I can say is that I'm going to have 7 or 8 events in autumn. So yeah, much more yarn. Yes. I think I'm crazy. I'm feeling stressed and a bit, you know, overwhelmed right now. But I know when I will set up, you know, my working space, dyeing space, and get into, you know, the working vibe, it will be all right, and I will make it work. Yes, I will make it work. So that's about finished objects. I'm sorry I don't have anything else. I know I could have, because I had taken some things with me at the Rhodes retreat. But I have to blame John Glenn, aka Beardy Chill on Instagram, and the man who organized this wonderful retreat, because I took his class. It was the first class on the first day that I was there, and it was about designing your own shawl. So for me, you know, I just took this class just, you know, to have fun and be curious. And because I'm always vending in festivals alone. I never have the chance to get into classes. So I was like, I'm gonna get to as much classes as I can. So we could choose through several classes, but that one was a bit more easier for me, and I was kind of lazy also, and but also curious. Yes. So I said, okay, let's take this class and see what it brings along. And I found John, and he knows it, a very nice, good teacher and tutor, because he used to be one, and he has the whole exercise, and I think he really knows how different minds work along, and he knows, how to enable people. Let's put it like that. So he brings all his shows that I have already had a beautiful moment last September on, seeing them, touching them, rubbing myself with them, and of course his hooded bat that I adore, and I need to make one. And it will come. I have a nice project on my mind, a nice idea. Okay, so I'm getting out of subject now. And yeah, so we start, looking at the different shapes of his shawls and showing us what we can make and what his process on making a shawl is. So first he might choose, the shape, a story, if there's a purpose that he wants to achieve with the shawl, if he had a request. For example, he had one of his shawl that was requested from his wife, wonderful Janet, that she wants it to be very long and cover her bump when she puts it. And so that made him think, in a different way and coming to that. So yes, that was wonderful and very exciting, and depending fibers, colors, and blah blah blah. But for me, it really made sense. It wasn't something, a breakthrough or whatever. Then he gives us some notes with different kinds of shapes and like the basic recipe on how to create the shape. So for example, I don't know, a triangle, like you have increases in the middle and increases in each side. Then if you wanted to go more in one side, you will have, double increases. And then, yes, so, that was perfect. I think it was really nice to just immediately understand that this shape is made with this and this, or with that and that, or if you put a double increase and a decrease, or increase at first, it really kind of started off being really nice. Then, except looking, at the shape, on having, the recipe for it. But I wasn't hooked. I was like, yeah, okay, kind of bits, whatever. I'm very good. If John sees this video, he's going to kill me. Yeah. So I decided to look around what the others would do, and see how people react to that information of what, he just said and what they wanted to experiment. So it was funny because, for example, there was this woman, she loves lace. So you would assume that she would be making something with lace, but no, she figured out to do something completely different. Or there was this lady, she doesn't enjoy knitting lace, but she wanted to design something in lace. What's with that? And then at some point, I looked around, and then I took the different shapes notebook, and I saw one that's speak to me. I don't know what it said, but it was like, I'm interesting. Do you want to make something? I was like, yeah, why not? And then, of course, without even thinking about it, I cast it on and I started brioching. Yeah. So I don't know, for me, designing a pattern was not something that I was interested. I'm not sure if I'm interested yet, but it really, really tickles my sense that I like to do things my own way. And I asked John, I like this shape, and I think there's not something in brioche like that, and I would like to try that, but I'm not sure how to do it. Because everything was increases, decreases, all in the beginning of the row. So I thought, and he's like, what are you thinking to do? I'm like, I don't know. It has increases and decreases in the beginning of the row. So I'm just thinking on doing a few rows with the increase at the beginning. See how, that works. Because I'm not a designer. I don't really think beforehand how it will look. And then I will add the decrease, but not alongside, on the other end. And it's like, okay, do it. So I'm doing it. Then I realized that I need another increase at some point. And he's like, okay, do it. And I'm doing it. And then I like it. And then I say, if I repeat that, then it will do this, right? And he's, yes. And then I'm like, okay, I'm decreasing to the right, but it's kind of boring. I will decrease to the left. And then everything changed. And I think it was funny, how I would say, I'm thinking about this, what do you say? And John was like, you can do whatever you want. If you tell me that I can do whatever I want, be sure that's what I'm gonna do. So we finished the lesson, and I had some, scrap yarn decay, whatever. I didn't really like those colors, but, something dull. I went up to my room. I took 2 new skeins of yarn. Of course, it had to be ManaKori, my favorite orange, and middle finger. And I cast it on. I kept the changes that I liked, and I cast it on, and I'm writing the instructions for a pattern. Who? Me. So all week I didn't pick up any of the other objects that I had with me because I was hooked. I wanted to see what I can do. How can I play with that a bit more? So the pattern isn't really, I don't want to say it isn't that exciting, because for me it is, of course, but I can show you just a bit. So this is it. It's fairly, simple brioche with just a twist. And yeah, that's all I can say. But I'm thinking on keeping it simple. There might be just 2 or 3 variations of the same pattern. One very, very simple with just the same repeat all over again. And my idea is to have a shawl that, it will just be growing as much as you want. So you can use your scrap yarn, you can use DK, you can make it on iron weight, you can make it with 2 fingerings, hold it together. You can do whatever you want. You can style it with pompons, tassels, fringe, whatever you want. And then the next one, it will be in the same philosophy, but just with a bit of changing on the placement of the decreases and something like that. Fairly simple brioche, nothing too crazy yet. I don't know how it's gonna end, if it's gonna have a border. At some point I was thinking, maybe let's add a bit of double knitting in the mix, but I really don't know. It's just something that I'm having fun creating and making, and yeah, and we will see what will come through. So it's funny because I forgot to pick up a notepad before leaving like I don't have enough notepads. I had to take one on the airport because John had asked us to have a notepad for our class. And my notepad was, today I choose happiness. So I think I did. I choose very vibrant colors that speak to me and that I love, to do just, of something that I love. Simple like that. So yes, so my whip for the moment that I'm working on more is my own design. How selfish is that? I hope not too much. And I don't want for people to think, oh, naturally is designing or whatever. I really don't know if it's something that I will do again or, or from time to time. I'm just having fun, guys, okay? Just having fun with it. And if people like it, they will be able to make it also. That's just it. Yeah. That's just it. What else? I think it's a wonderful transition to talk about my trip in Rhodes. And so I've started talking about the classes. So on the first day, on Monday, we had a wonderful class with John, as I told you. And then later in the evening, there was Ellie's Skein Deer class. And I have done a bit of color work, as you know. I did one mid and a jumper for my niece. And I really wanted to make maybe other mints or something in color work, a sweater for me. And so I really liked Ellie's class because even though I knew the technique, even though, I've tried it and I've made something, it was nice to interact with her and hear other people's question. And it was wonderful. She was great. At some point I had some questions. Now, of course, I don't remember what. And she was really patient and very calm and composed. And I think what was also really nice for all the classes is that because we weren't in an environment of stress, like a festival, like, okay, I have 2 hours, I have to make it and do it now. We were more relaxed. So our class felt like it finished a bit earlier because we all had a bit of experience with color work, so we weren't very novice to that. But because we had the time, we really took the time to do our swatch, to make questions, and it really felt like a very safe place that nothing that I will say or do will make me feel or seem silly, and I really loved that. She was really wonderful to give us a pattern to start our mitts. Of course, I started mine and they were a bit bigger, but I really didn't care. I just wanted, to make the exercise and really get what she was talking about, and I did. So I was very excited, very proud of myself. My floats were perfect. Yay! So yeah. And I'm very happy because, should I say now? Okay, Ellie, we had also a market day and Ellie bought 2 skeins of yarn of me and she sent me a picture of something wonderful that she made. So now I can't wait because I want it. And yeah, so we'll see when the pattern will be out. Yes, but you'll definitely gonna love it. I'm very happy, very excited. And yeah. So the second day was Tuesday, and and by then Nathan also joined us. He came, I think, very late on Monday at night, and also Eva from Perth Yarn Festival. And so on Tuesday we were all there, finally, the whole group. and it was really cool because we had a bus in the hotel, and it took us to the old city of Rhodes. And Rhodes was one of the cities that has a big knighthood history from the Byzantine times and the Crusades. So we actually went to the Museum of Rhodes, which is actually a part of the castle. And it was really wonderful, beautiful. I was mostly hanging around with Aileen from Little Bush Baby, and who I'm mad at her. No, I'm not. She just took a picture of me while I was sleeping, and she posted on Instagram, and she tagged me. Oh, God. How can I preserve the image of me being a perfect woman if people, see me sleeping? No, I'm just kidding. It was really fun. Actually, I started it because I was taking pictures of people sleeping, but for my defense, I didn't tag them, and I just posted them on my stories, not on my feed, Aileen, okay? Okay, but I was mostly hanging around with Aileen and Nathan. It just happened a few others, they were working by, because, we were just going into smaller rooms in the castles. There were lots of different stuff, so we kind of spread, and we were, for some time, me, Aileen, and Nathan together. So yes, I was making fun a bit of Nathan because he was taking videos of, funny stuff. You can see the funny stuff that Nathan was taking on video on his amazing podcast that he did of our trip. And so we were fooling around, and because I wanted to take pictures for the wonderful maker and friend of mine of the bag that I had on me, I just, went into a fireplace and asked them if they could take a picture of me. And then it was so funny because Nathan said, "Oh, are you searching for a portkey inside?" And then at some point he got in and he lifted up his legs, and I'm like, "Oh, you're coming out," And then, we were just being a bit silly and 5-year-olds, both of us, but it was great. It was really great. Then, of course, we had some time knitting and a wonderful lunch at Rhodes. The city feels, outside of the castle parts and the museum, very, very touristy. I kind of I didn't like it because you don't get at all, the Greek vibe. It's really, really touristy, and it seemed kind of weird. It was like if I was in the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, suddenly. But other than that, I got inside of a wonderful small workshop with the jewelry, and I got myself a ring that I love, and I talked a bit with the maker, and because I've done jewelry lessons and I've worked with metals, we had a conversation about some techniques and other things, because I was curious to see if they were using specific techniques in the island or not, and he was really helpful and kind. And we had a wonderful day, just roaming around, and then we enjoyed knitting and hanging around with each other, and that would happen a lot. Knitting and just feeling relaxed and good with each other's company. Then we had on Wednesday Nathan's class, Demystifying Double Knitting, which is the one that I had. He had also 2 other classes. The one that is a step further than just, the beginner's double knit. And then he had another for intarsia, which I didn't took. I wanted to take it, but I was really tired that day, and I didn't feel like I wanted, to be focused into, to work into the class, and so I didn't take it. But I did took his double knitting, And I knew the basics of double knitting thankfully to my wonderful friend and double knitting designer Merit Puzeria, which I've already talked to her in this podcast, and that I really, really love. And so Nathan, what can you say about Nathan? Like, really, that he's an awful person? No, you can't say that. He's amazing. That he doesn't know what he's talking about? Of course not. He's a genius. That he's boring? Well, have you seen how charismatic he is? How can Nathan be boring? Like, really. So, of course, I was very happy to see him again and having time of chatting and being silly. But it was wonderful having a double knitting class because it was something that I did, just to get the hand out of it. But now I can really say I can double knit. And thank you, Nathan, for that. At the time that I was in Nathan's class, there was also something else going on. And so I had to leave the class, but then come back. So it was okay. I didn't make a big mess because I did my double knitting. I was a bit further, on my thing. So I knew I got it and I understood how it worked. So then I could leave. And where did I go? Where did I go? Can you guess? So Aileen had brought us a batch of tablets. Tablets, it's like fudge or something like that. But Aileen once, oh my god, she had, cut them into small pieces. And she actually gave me a bunch just for me. And I have saved one for Nico to taste. So Nico is my boyfriend. For Nico to taste, to have the original one. And I will try to replicate that. So I was like, come on, Aileen, we're going to be out in 2 days. Can't you make some? And she was like, I don't know if I can find the chocolate, the same condensed milk. And I'm like, please, please, please. And then other people came and they were like, please, 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 please. And of course, we met the family that was running the hotel. And of course, I got to be a bit more closer with the two, it was a family and they had 3 men, not boys, 3 men, their sons, that they were running a lot of the hotel. And the second and third one, I think the youngest is the same age as me, are very, keen into the kitchen and they're very interested in food. So I made them taste tablets. And the second one was very interested on how it was done. So Aileen gave me the recipe and we gave it to him. And I said, yeah, but I'm telling her, if we can make a batch, that would be very interesting because there's like apparently some things to be seen on how it's made. And then George, the guy, he said, well, if you're interested, we can make some time in the kitchen after breakfast. And I was like, Aileen, you have to make it. So the only day that was appropriate was Wednesday morning while I was in Nathan's class. But because I wanted to see some things, I said, okay, start. And when I need to see the thing, like there's a boiling point, a technique that I had to see, just call me. And they were like, okay, we're gonna call you. And they called me. And of course I went a bit, crazy and fun, and it was really cool. There is, I think, some footage of the behind the scenes in the kitchen. I think that Phil has it from Virtual Midnights. And I'm pretty sure that he's going to put some of the silliness of the kitchen. Oh my god, I don't even remember what I was doing. But yeah, Aileen and her tablets were something that was keeping me alive and my energy levels were high because the sugar in that thing is crazy, like crazy. Like I would take a bite and I would be like energized. Yeah, I think it might be the effect that other people have with caffeine, but I don't have it. I don't drink coffee. I don't miss it. But when I was feeling a bit down or a bit like I'm energy drained, I would have a bite of the tablet. Oh my god. That must be the biscuits that in Lord of the Rings they had, you know, to keep them going, the elfish biscuits. Well, don't look any further. It was tablets. It was alien tablets. Yes, I'm pretty sure. So, okay, back to double knitting. So I'm very happy. I've done my swatch and everything. Of course, I had to wrap around and play with Nathan's Scholes. And of course, there's this big one, huge one that everybody was asking the pattern, because I put on Instagram a picture of me wrap around it and they were going crazy. And so Nathan said, because it's a very, very big one, and yeah, it might take a while to be out, but rest assured, I'm sure that when it will be out, you will have had all the practice that you needed in double knitting to make it, and make it well. Okay, so yeah, don't despair, people, because I was thinking, yeah, it's sad that he doesn't have it, but even if he had it written up, I wouldn't have started immediately. So let's just give Nathan some time to write it and not pester him about it. But I will, a bit, on the sideline. And yeah, and he will make it, I'm sure he will. Of course, while I was taking my pictures, John Birdiciel came and he was photobombing my selfies. So I decided to take a wonderful picture of us making a dog face, because what's more silly than a selfie doing a dog face with the hats from Nathan, the Sockamatician? Like, come on. So yeah, I've decided to make 2 hats from Nathan's beautiful work and patterns. I don't remember the names, but it is the 2 that me and John are displaying in this crazy selfie. I will find them and put a picture. So then, I loved hanging around with people and knit and, you know, just talk about yarn and patterns and applications. Yes, Linda from Sweden, she was there with her other half, Johan. I give him a big hug and lots of kisses to both of them, because it was a joy meeting them. She is on Instagram, the Willy Whiskers, and they're so cute and so fun. So in the beginning, they were a bit more separate. They didn't talk too much to the whole group. But as the time went along and the classes, you know, we mingled and it was great. And while we were, I think, having lunch, at some point I told her, she had started something new to knit, and I told her, how many times did you do this pattern? Do you know it by heart? And she, of course, laughed at me, because it was a pattern that she had on her phone, but I couldn't see the notes. And I'm like, how did you keep track of what you're doing? And she told me she was using this beautiful app, which is called Love Knitting here. Okay, so you tap on Love Knitting and it asks you to log in, and it synchronizes with Ravelry, so you can have the whole library there, or a few of the patterns that you're working, and you can actually put a tag and write something as a note in the pattern. So that was really nice. I think I'm gonna try and knit my next projects like that, so I get along with it, because I always have a pencil, a paper, you know, and ticking off what I'm doing and not, and sometimes that's not very convenient, let's say. So thank you, Linda, for the tip. It was really cool. And yeah, And as I'm speaking of Linda and Johan, John had organized for us a small knitting game. It was actually having 3 clues, and in the end, after breaking the 3 clues, we had to make something, but we didn't know that at the time. And so the 3 clues were for us to find the 2 first, were to find us 2 parts to make a spindle. The 3rd clue was that we had to do some spinning in the spindle very fast, as fast as we can, and to make the width of the swimming pool. So in my group, it was funny because all the groups were set up, and then at some point I'm like coming and I'm like, hey, what you're doing? We're ready for, playing. And I'm like, okay, who am I with? And they were like, screaming, Liz, come with us. So I went with them. It was great. Me and Linda spun like crazy. And we were running through and back to see if we had the length of the width of the swimming pool. Then Johan would tell us, okay, you need 2 meters. Okay, I'm doing it. And then he was awesome because he didn't know how to spin, but he saw us, doing the spinning motion. So while Linda was, drafting, he would spin her spindle. So we went very, very fast. We were the first ones that had finished our yarn. And then John gave us the last task. And the last task was to knit a kitten, a cat. And so I'm like, okay, I have the legs. Then Linda was like, I have the head. And she was really amazing because she did actually do pointy ears. But we all had to knit something, and Johan knitted, I think it was the tail. So it was okay, it was 2 stitches, 2 rows, but it was perfect, and we finished first. So I'm very happy because I had also given a prize, and she won my prize, which was a sock blank, and it was really great. It was the night, I think, after the marketplace, so it was on Wednesday, and she had really a difficult time to choose which yarns to take from me, but in the end I'm very happy because she went with a sweater quantities of Regvim for a Dream, so a grey with speckles, and I couldn't be more happy that she chose that. Yes! So while I'm talking about the marketplace, maybe it's a good time for me to show you what I got. So there was me, of course, with yarn. Then there was on Instagram, you can find her as the Psychic Knitter or Otherworldly Yarns. She has an Etsy shop. Hi Carola, hi Martin. She is an amazing dyer, and I couldn't be more happy that we exchanged some yarn. Martin was crazy about my Hakuna Matata colorway, and I was drawn by this colorway. And it's funny because when Martin asked me, so that I was looking at this colorway, he told me, Liz, this is the one with the horror story. So okay, let's go a big back. So Carola and Martin, Carola is dying, and Martin is making little stories on each for each colorway, and it's amazing, like really stories for each colorway. And so she had done this colorway inspired by the Kelpie. So Kelpies are creatures, but they are very fierce, dangerous, not the thing that you think is really nice. So they can be nice, but they can be horrible stories. And at some point we had a chat, and they asked my opinion of would would it be okay if you did a horror story? And me, of course, I was like, yeah, just do it and everything. But of course, I just told Carola, think about your brand and what it means for you. And if you feel strongly that this should be a part of it, then do it. Don't care about what other people will say, because in the end, whatever you do, people will say things, you know. And that was also my the things that I was trying to debate if I needed to do my rebel fuck off I'm knitting collection. And I did, because it was something that I felt very strong about it, and because life is about, you know, being able to do what you like, of course with respect of others, and you know, not be criticized if I want to knit or dye yarn, or my value as a person because I do that. So yes, I felt very strongly and I did it, and that's why I have a colorway Yarngasm with this rad, rebel up, virgin, middle finger, focaccia latte. I don't care. It's, we have to see what is fulfilling us, because we do it also for people to have beautiful yarn to knit with, but it's also a way to express ourselves. So that was my advice to Carola, and I'm very happy that she went for it, because life is not only about, you know, fairies and rainbows, and also because they're very drawn to mythical creatures and this kind of stuff. People did all those legends and mythology to express and you know, figure out bad and good things, good and bad ones. Yeah, and I think this is brilliant. So this is the Kelpie colorway, and it's in her Cordelia base, which is non-superwash, Corriedale Nylon, 80-20% blend. And yeah, and actually I didn't immediately read the story. I read it when I was calm in my room because I wanted to savor it. And then I go to Martin and I'm like, come on, Martin, you could have made worse, you know. Of course, it's a horror story, but it's not really terrible. Don't be scared, people. It just gives you just a bit of chills. And I love that. I love it. Amazing. Really, really nice. Thank you, guys. Then, of course, I had to take one of Eleni's ManaKori bags. And as I didn't think about it at the time, but I was doing my project with that. And I wanted a new bag because, come on, new project, new bag. And I saw this cute Harry Potter one. Look how cute they are. I had already seen this fabric on one of her Instagram posts and I had loved it, but I wasn't thinking that I would be so lucky to get it. And of course, Eleni and Phil, her other half, are the hosts of IVKN International Virtual Knit Nights that on the weekends and on Tuesdays. So if you want to check them out, go either on their Instagram or Facebook page and ask them some questions. Most probably Phil will help you out to sort and how you can get in those chats. Hashtag IVKN Club. And I'm very happy because also Eva from Perth Yarn Festival gave me stitch marker and a beautiful, you know, how do you call it? You know, the thing with the holes to see the needles. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's called. I don't have it here, but it's this beautiful shape with little holes and the needle sizes. So thank you, Eva, also for this gift. I'm very humbled. I also received a few other things. Maybe I should talk for them right now. Okay, I don't have them right here. Coming back. Okay, so we had with us also Larry Diva on Instagram, Laura, and she came from Canada, and she brought us two very sweet gifts for everyone. And one was this little baby skeins that you can also, very fuzzy ones, that you can wear them also as earrings, but they're so fuzzy that I wouldn't dare to use them as earrings. It's so soft. It's the softest yarn that ever existed. It's called Kivit. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Kivit. I'm not really sure, but it's amazing. It's really beautiful, and I'm thinking of ordering some at some point. Yes, I'm sure it's very expensive, but oh my god, I need this in my life. So thank you, Laura, for giving us this baby sample. Thank you so much. And she also brought us some charms from Charmed Dreams. And as thoughtful as she is, those are cakes that are made in Canada. And she gave us the recipes for them. So you have the recipes and you have the charms. Amazing. Amazing. At some point when I was knitting my my design, well, I feel kind of pompous of saying my design, but okay, anyway, my idea, I needed a stitch marker, and she gave me one, but because at the time I was talking about stitches, stitch markers and everything, I had put like, you know, another one, but she gave me this stitch marker. Okay, so it is a cat, and because I didn't know where to put it, I put it on my finger, and I was wearing this for 2 days like that. You see? Yeah. And at some point I needed it when I was knitting, and I put it on my project, and then I was like, oh, I lost it. Where is it? Ah, yes, on my project bag. And then again, oh, I lost it. Where is it? And then it was on my project bag. And because I asked her where she took them, and I was really interested, she told me like when she will be back in Canada, she will let me know, because she didn't have that on her mind, and that, you know, she will let me know so I can order. I was like, yes, perfect. And then she decided to give me all of her cats. Thank you, Laura. I have no words, really. I'm very, very thankful. Thank you so much. So this is the bigger size, but even if I was knitting with fingering, it was perfect. It didn't feel, you know, heavy or annoying. I really, really like it, and I can put it in my finger. Silly things that makes me happy. Okay, so and also John had some of his patterns if people wanted to purchase some, and he also had this yarn, which is made from, I don't remember, for 50% Suffolk and 50% Beltex, and of course it's non-superwash yarn, but it is 50 grams and it's 88.5 meters. So I'm not really sure what I can do with that. We will see. We will see. But the textures is interesting, I have to say. So yes, that was it about the marketplace. Then, sorry, on Thursday, we had classes, I think, and it was a cool day. We asked the guys from the hotel to leave us a bit outside of the city to just go for a walk and we have a drink. Some people went to, you know, to market to buy some stuff. Me and Aileen went walking around because I was feeling a bit dizzy and I just needed a bit of air. And we walked by the sea. It was really nice, and then very, very relaxed day. And we played D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, in a knitting retreat. Yeah, baby. So it was really cool. It was amazing. We were a lot of people and a lot of newbies, so that made the whole process very, very long. But it was really cool because in the end, I got to kill a metallic bull. Yes, I'm the one who saved them because I'm the one who could heat up metal. But of course, I was the last one to go because I had rolled like a 4 or something. But this was really great. Of course, we didn't end the whole thing because I think we wouldn't have gone to sleep if we had played the whole thing. But it was really great. I can't wait to play again. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I'm sure that we're gonna figure out something really, really soon, I hope. On Friday was a very nice day, very exciting. We went to several different villages, but we ended up eating at the village of the father who owns of the family that they owned the hotel, Apollonia, which was very interesting. They did us a traditional dish that is lamb in the oven with potatoes and chickpeas, and it was really welcoming. We had a few stops while we were going there, so we were on and off the bus, which was a bit challenging for me because I wake up the day with having problems in my sinuses and being blocked. And when I'm off and on, with the air conditioning and then the heat, and I think it was one of the hottest days, it was really bad. And as the day was progressing, I was getting worse and worse. Of course, Mr. Apostolis, the father of the family that owns the hotel, was very excited and wanted me to translate some things. So I was very happy to help, but at some point I was really not feeling well, but trying not to show it. After lunch, I was slightly better, and then he took us to the museum of the village. So when you think museum, you think, this big thing, very polished and everything. But actually, several years back, so I'm not sure when, I think maybe in the 80s, beginning of the 80s, the families, or maybe earlier on, I don't remember, and he gave me his book. So maybe I should read his book at some point to see exactly what happened. Okay, I don't remember when exactly, but all the families of the village donated to the village to create a museum, and they donated like old clothes that they were weaved, or weaving looms, or things that people used to do and maintain themselves, and they created this kind of museum. It was really interesting. It was wonderful to see, how people would do some things. So I tried to keep up with that and tried to show people. Thankfully, at that point, Phil was also next to me, so he was also translating, and he was a bit to it. And then I got outside, and I had this wonderful garden, and I just, with benches, and I just sat on a bench and, breathed in, breathed out, and it really felt to me very, very nice, and did a small meditation, and that actually kind of brought me some energy, but it wasn't enough because then we had to go back on the bus and, do some stuff. And then we arrived at the hotel, and at some point, after 5 minutes, there were like kind of different requests from me, and I was like, I'm sorry, but I can't do that anymore. Like, I don't have anything more to give. And I felt kind of emotional, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I have to go to my room. And so I went to my room, and Aileen saw me, and she's like, ooh, you don't seem well. And I'm like, not so much. I just, feel like I need some space. So it was good. Even if I had a small meltdown, it was really good. I took a shower, cried it a bit off, and then I was back on track. Yes. And then it was Saturday, my last day there, and I really wanted to enjoy being in the company of everyone, and I was very sad to leave. Yeah, I think the next time if I go to a retreat, I will be one of the last persons to leave, yeah. And then, of course, we had the way back, I was with Laura, Diva. And it was really funny because at the airport in Rhodes, they didn't want me to take my smaller luggage that I wanted to have carry on because I have 2 backpacks. So they tell me, no, this will go also, in the suits down the airplane. And I said, okay. And then, of course, I was overweighted. And so the lady told me, it's okay, you students, we're trying, to help you out. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Those books are really heavy. She's like, yes, don't worry. So she really helped me out. But then it was Laura's turn. And Laura hadn't bought, for her luggage to get in, for the extra luggage. So she said, okay, you will have to pay because, I just helped this young lady and she's a student. And of course it was okay, Laura paid. And then Laura was like, very smart of you to make her believe that you're a student. And I'm like, I didn't say anything. She thought it by herself. And I didn't say anything because that was really great. It really worked out very well for me. And then, of course, we had to go from the security. And I'm passing, I'm perfect, I'm good to go. But Laura's bag, they wanted to open it because she had something very pointy. And of course, Laura, oh my God, she had her full box with her interchangeables, sharps, DPNs, everything was sharp, everything was metallic. I said, oh my God, they're never gonna let us. The guy was like, do you see how pointy it is? You can kill me with that. And of course, I told him, well, with a very sharp pencil, I can also kill you, if I want to. I'm gonna kill him. So he looks at me, with a serious look like, young lady, what are you talking about? But he also had, a tiny smile over his edge of his mouth. So he said, I'm sorry, but I really need to call my supervisor. And I'm like, yes, of course, I can understand that. So the supervisor comes, and I'm talking him, in Greek, and I'm telling him, oh, please, but, we were like several people in a knitting retreat, and this lady is very nice, and if you want, we can take out all our knitting for you to check that, we're not criminals, we're just crazy knitters. And she's a very nice lady, and please don't throw them because it's a pity and they can cost a lot. And then I told him, it's a small airport, maybe you can get them in at the hostess, of our aircraft. And then he's looking at me, he closes the pouch that she had all her needles, and he's telling me, okay, give it to her and tell her to put it quickly in her bag, and off you go. I was like, oh, thank you so much. So I was like, Laura, fast, put it in your bag, let's leave. So yeah, it was really cool and really, really nice. Then I just put her, drive her to her Airbnb, and then I was finally home alone. It was sad, really sad. Sunday morning, waking up alone, not even the kind is here. I'm having a meltdown. I'm like, oh, where are you all? But it was really, really great. Uh, so yes. Oh, and no, another amazing thing that happened yesterday was yesterday. My God. While we were in the knitting retreat, it's at some point Eva, who's organizing Birth Yarn Festival, she tells me, "Oh, Liz, I'm so happy you're coming back this September, and it's gonna be great." I'm like, "Yeah, totally." And she tells me, "Yeah, but you have to promise me until you die, you will come on my festival." And I was like, "Yeah, whenever I can, I will come." And then the next day, we found out that she was nominated by the Knitters magazine of being one of the best festivals in UK, and her name was with other people, huge festivals like Yarndale or the Edinburgh Festival. And this is amazing. Congratulations, Eva. Just being nominated is a huge thing. Wow, she's alone organizing it, and it was just her second year. So I'm very proud of her. And then I had to tell her, okay, yesterday you wanted me to come while, while I'm alive and I can do that. Well, now I have to return, the question. I'm like, Eva, would you always have me? Would you always have a spot for me? So it was a really, funny and bonding and amazing moment. When she told me, I was so happy for her. I was like very also emotional. So yeah, I'm very happy when people, try and do their thing, what they believe, they take the risk and go for it, because that's the only way. So yeah, congrats, Eva. I'm very proud of you. Yeah. Okay, so that was about, the retreat. I'm very happy, very, very happy that also I will see some of them in the Perth Yarn Festival, because they were quite of Scottish or people living in the UK. I'm also happy that Linda is saying that she's gonna come from Sweden. Crossing fingers, yes. And last but not least, I wanted to say something also about the people of the hotel that we were staying. And it's that it was a wonderful hotel. Nothing fancy or, really amazing, but it was a very welcoming place, a family place. And as far as I didn't have any issues whatsoever with my room or whatever, whenever there was something, that was being said, they would always being, with a smile on their face, very gracefully taking charge of any problems when and if there were anyone's. And I'm very happy to say that I can count them also as friends. And very, very good people. And very good people. Just that. A big thank you to the Shastalis family. Okay, so then let's go to the break news of Trellis. Okay, so Trellis in this moment is moving to our summer location. As you know, I've said again in the last podcast that I will be moving my studio. And I also said it in the beginning of this podcast. Please try and keep up. So yes, you can order whatever is in stock, but it will be sent in the mid of next week, because of packing, receiving yarns and all that, the moving of the stash. I will be starting working and dyeing, I think, on Wednesday, because I think until then I will have set up my working space. I will have my dyes, the yarn and everything. And yes, I will start first of all dyeing the pre-orders for the Dare Yourself kit Pre-orders are ending the 15th of June, so end of next week. And also there are pre-orders for the fading kits. So everything you can pre-order, you can just go there and take what you want. As I will be dyeing mostly for events in autumn and or orders of yarn shops, you might feel that I don't have in mind so much the website, but that's not true. I do. It's actually one of the priorities, and that's why I'm also making pre-orders, because I want you to get what you really need. And so I'm not dyeing things that you might not want, okay? And put energy in what you really, really want and really care to have. So in the summertime, I think after the fading or pre-orders, there will be other kits coming along in the website. But I was thinking also on having some pre-orders for newest colorways in a few bases, not all. I have done that before. I think 1 or 2 years, like all the colorways, all the yarn bases, but that's gonna be too crazy for me because I have 7 or 8 events to prepare in autumn, so it's a lot. And please forgive me if I'm not gonna have something that you might need immediately, but with pre-orders it gives me time to regulate my stock if I don't have something, to have it shipped and to make it worthwhile for you. Yes, so I'm gonna try and do my best and set up all those beautiful pre-orderings and crazy skeins and colors for you. I'm very excited also because I had a custom colorway for Aileen, which is called Perfect Imperfections, and it will be also up in the shop when I will receive my things on Tuesday, I think, in the island. So I will be making some pictures and uploading it up. And there's also something else that will be in kits, and I don't want to spoil it, but can I just show a bit over here? Okay, so that's just a piece of it. Green with what? Pink? What's that, Liz? Are you going nuts? Maybe I am. So yeah, very excited. Last but not least, I have another surprise for you also, and it involves those patches. What does it say? Random knit. Random knit. Yes, random knit. Do you remember what is random knit? Okay, it's 3 skeins, singles, in random colorways, and you receive them, and you don't know what you're receiving. That's crazy, right? Yeah! But now the product will be coming in this pouch. So what you will actually receive is 3 skeins of yarn in this pouch that I will have closed with a thread sewed with my knitting machine. With my knitting machine, like, Liz, you don't even have a knitting machine. With my sewing machine, and then you will have to rip it, and ta-da! So this is the pouches. They're brand new, silkscreen printed, and they are in different colors. I wouldn't say shapes. The shape is the same. And yes, those are the 4 main color changes. But as silkscreen printed is a hand-dyed process and handmade process, you will have some that have more purple or more orange or only yellow. And yes, you don't know which pouch you get. And yes, you don't know which yarn you get. How crazy is that? I had the idea of having a pouch closed like that because like that, even your yarn shop can have them and be displayed. And it's very smart because you can hang them and you see, you will read random knit straight. Yes, great minds of Team Extraordinary in Instagram and Trilly's Color is Power made this happen. How crazy are we? Yes, we are. Because color is power, fiber is our weapon. So do follow us, okay? Instagram, yes, Trillies_color is power. And Facebook, Trillies. And Twitter, Trillies. And Ravelry, Trillies. Trillies. Okay? Bye. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.